Hey, and welcome to another one of Rich and Jen's Adventures. We got a lot of positive feedback about our cooking video, so we're gonna start a little playlist of In the Kitchen with Jen. And we're gonna do some of our favorite recipes and let you guys have the recipes, so if you wanna try them, you know, they'll be there for you. So today we are gonna make brisket, macaroni, and cheese. What do you think about that, Rich?
I'm loving it. Mouth's already watering.
It's a great make ahead and take out for company. Also, you can make this for like Super Bowl. If you don't have access to smoking your own meat, Rich smokes our briskets, then you can go somewhere to your local barbecue and get, you know, a pound or two of chopped brisket. And if you don't want to spend that much, you can also get a chopped pork. That'll work as well. So if you guys are ready, we'll get started. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the pasta. This recipe calls for 1 pound of pasta, and you can use any kind of pasta that you like. I like this pasta for whatever reason. It's got these little corkscrews, but you can use elbow or whatever you like. I get this at Kroger, and I started using it a few years ago, and I just like the shape because it seems to hold a lot of cheese. So we like to use that. So the first thing that we're going to do is to prep is we're going to grate the cheese. And I wanted to show you guys something really cool. For Christmas this year, my son and my daughter-in-law got me this cheese shredder. And this came off Amazon, and I saw a lady on a cooking show use it, and I really wanted it. So they bought it for me for Christmas. I want to show you something. I have the regular grater in here. It also comes with this like slicing grater and also this little fine grater. And I use this for fresh Parmesan cheese. And I think it was like, I don't know, probably $25, but I absolutely love it. And it's really nice too, because what you gotta do is you just dampen the bottom and then has a little lock and you push it down and then it's locked onto the counter. It's got a little pusher, so you can, you know, go ahead and use that if you want. And the two cheeses that we're going to use today, we're going to use smoked Gouda.
Yum.
And we're going to use regular cheddar. So it gives it a little extra smoky flavor. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start shredding this cheese. And you guys are going to see how simple this is. It's coming right out of the inside, Rich, if you want to let them get a view.
Oh, wow.
Now, I've been cooking with pre-shredded cheese for a long time. But what I hear is that you really want to grate your own. Makes the recipe a lot better because of the fact that a lot of the pre-shredded has like a flour on it to keep it from sticking together. And this way you don't have any of that. So it melts better and it has better flavor. So there's our Gouda, and we're going to need 2 cups of Gouda and 3 cups of cheddar. So we're going to do the cheddar next, and then when we finish that, we'll come back and go on to the next portion of the menu. All right, so we finished shredding our cheese, and I want to show you guys how easy this thing is to clean up. So when you're done, this little handle has a little button, and you just push it, and you pull the handle off, and then you release this, and then you take it over to the sink, and this just pulls right out. And then you wash this out, and I'll salvage this little bit of cheese because I hate to waste it.
Sure.
So that's all you got to do. So it's super easy to use, and I love the fresh shredded flavor.
Jen, speaking of cheese, I love Gouda. I know you love Gouda. Can you not use the Gouda?
You can use any kind of cheese that you want. You can, as long as you have 6 cups, you could do Swiss, sharp cheddar, regular Gouda, Havarti, anything that you want. As long as you've got your 6 cups and just, you know, changed up for the flavors that you like.
Cool.
So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to chop our brisket. Now this brisket, Rich did a smoked brisket a few weeks ago. And, you know, the briskets usually come really big, and we usually give some to our neighbors and some to our son and his wife. And there's always leftover. So I freeze it, and I usually freeze it so I can make a couple of macaroni and cheeses, or I can make some sandwiches later. So it looks a little funny just because, as you know, brisket's very fatty. So when I froze it, it just kind of stuck there because I like to vacuum seal it. So what we're gonna do for the brisket is we are gonna chop this. Now, I will tell you that some people shred it, but I think it's better in the macaroni and cheese if you leave it in bigger pieces, because then people can really get a bite and really taste it. So we're just gonna kind of chop this up roughly. And then when we have it in the size that we want, we're gonna throw it in here and set it aside. Now you can do this in one or two ways. You can use this to chop it all up, or you can do what I like to do. And that is when I get it to this size, I really like to just kind of break it up so it doesn't look like squares, but it's not small pieces. And you just get kind of all irregular size chunks. And then if you want to take a look in the bowl, Rich, you can show them like the size pieces.
Oh yeah. Now, I didn't see you measuring that brisket. It's just kind of winging it?
Well, recipe that I originally started with, that I've changed to my to my recipe, said 2 cups. But I usually make it a little bit more than that because, you know, hey, if you got brisket.
Yeah, right.
It's like, can you have too much cheese or too much meat in your macaroni and cheese brisket?
Right.
So that's all we're going to do. We're going to finish this up and then we'll come back and we'll go to the next step. All right. A very important part of the brisket is to make sure that you save some for your puppies. This is Bella. She's about 12. And this is Benson. He's going on 16. He can't hear anymore, but he can certainly smell.
He loves food.
These are mom's little babies. And they're always in the kitchen hoping that something falls to the floor.
Hey, Jen. Okay. What's up with all the different bowls? And it seems like, is that more work or less work? What's going on?
Well, when I do cook, I like to get everything measured out and get it set out. So I've got everything that I need and I know I have everything I need. I don't get like halfway through a recipe and go, oops, I forgot I was out of garlic.
That would be horrible.
And that just makes, you know, something, when we used to work in the seafood industry, the shops that I ran did cooking classes, and we had a fantastic lady named Karen Glenn. She used to do the cooking classes, and she taught me a lot. And one of the things she taught me, she was trained in France, was, I guess they say mise en place. So you have everything in place and ready to go into your recipe. So I've always tried to do that. So
cool.
And speaking of, I did do 2 things ahead of time. Not a big deal. Figured you guys knew how to cook pasta. The only thing I will tell you is when you cook the pasta, take it out a couple of minutes before they tell you to, because you want it to be just a tiny bit underdone so that when you bake it, it doesn't turn into mush. Okay, so I did this. It said 9 minutes. I did it 7 minutes. And then the other thing I did, this is going to be for the top, and this is just Panko breadcrumbs. And what I did was I put a couple of tablespoons of butter, and then I just browned these in the skillet. Took about 2 minutes, and then they're going to go on the top. So I got these 2 things ready to go, super easy. So we're going to go on with the rest of our recipe. I may have to glance down because I don't want to miss anything. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure when you're on camera.
Yeah, right.
So we're going to go ahead and get our pot heated up, and then we're going to start.
What are you heating it to?
We're going to put it on a medium high. And then we're going to turn it down as we go, and I'll talk about that as we get into that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put the butter in first, and I want to talk about one thing. So the first thing we're going to do is put a ½ cup of butter. Now, I just cut this up because it melts a little more evenly that way. You don't have to do that. I just kind of like to do that.
Salted or unsalted butter? I
use the salted butter. One of the ingredients that we're going to use today is going to be a dry mustard. And I think, in my personal opinion, that dry mustard is a super underutilized ingredient. We put this in the macaroni and cheese to give it a little bit of tang, but you can also put it into soups. You can put it into salad dressings. I have a fantastic recipe that is for a cheese and potato chowder. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, it's really good.
And dry mustard goes in that. Actually, you know, since we're still in the cold weather, I think I will go ahead and put that one on sometime soon. So the next thing we're going to do after our butter is melted is we're going to put our garlic in there. And that is the equivalency of about 4 cloves of garlic chopped. So we're going to toss that in. And we're going to just stir this for a few minutes just to kind of heat that garlic up. Doesn't take very long. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to whisk in a half a cup of flour. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to put that in.
That's just like a all-purpose?
Yep, just an all-purpose flour. And we're going to keep this moving constantly because this is going to be our thickener, and we want to cook this a little bit. It's not really a roux, but it's on the same order as making your base for your sauce. So we just have to keep moving that around. All right, so we've been doing this, and we're just getting this to a blondish brown color. And as soon as this is that color, then we're going to add in 4 cups of half and half. Now, you'll say, Jennifer, you're not measuring that. Well, this is a 4-cup container.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go ahead and whisk this in and let it heat up. Now, when we're doing this, we don't want to let this get too hot. We don't want it to boil because it'll ruin the texture. But while we're heating this up, the next ingredient that we're going to do is going to be our salt, our pepper. The pink is just the pink Himalayan sea salt that I use, pepper, and then your ground mustard. So we can go ahead and put that in. It's all in the same container. And then we're just going to work on this and stir it until it thickens. And when that happens, starts to get close, we'll come back and show that to you.
You're stirring away here.
Yep. It's going to take a little bit, but I would highly recommend just kind of taking time and standing here and whisking it, because you do not want anything to burn on the bottom or stick to the bottom or it to get too hot.
Now that was a lot of ingredients you put in. Are you going to have that in the comments?
Oh yeah, I'll put everything that I put in it in the comments, so that it'll be. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. I will tell you that you can make this. Like our son is coming over with his wife Jessica today, and we're having dinner with them. So we are making this a little bit ahead, and then I'm going to bake it in the oven. And when they come over, I will take it out after it's baked and let you take a look at it so y'all can see what it looks like when it's done.
They'll be our testers, our tasters.
Yes, and the only thing that you do at the very end, if you are making this ahead, at the very end, you're going to add your breadcrumbs. Because if you put them on too soon and then you put it in the refrigerator, they could get soggy, and you want them to kind of stay crispy. Okay, Rich, if you want to look down in here, and if you watch my whisk, you can see that it's starting to thicken up.
Ah.
Okay, so you just got to keep it moving the whole time.
It's been a couple minutes off camera.
It just depends on your stove top that you're using. And now it's really starting to, see it?
Oh yeah.
And you just want to keep moving it and done. I mean, literally it won't take that long.
It's really thickening up now.
Yep, it's going to be just a little bit more. You want it to just be at a simmer. You do not want this to start boiling. And see, it's just simmering, and now it's really getting thick.
Oh yeah.
Okay, see how I can do it in the middle and it almost shows the bottom?
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to turn this burner off.
Okay.
Because we do not want it to get any hotter than it already is.
Wow.
Okay. Then we're going to do a couple things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put half of our Gouda, and you can eyeball this. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to put about half in there. And then we're going to put about half of this cheddar in there. Okay.
Everything's better with cheddar.
Yeah. And then we're going to let this melt in the sauce. See how we turned that off before it started boiling? Because if you let it boil, it can get very grainy, and you do not want it. And now look how thick that.
Oh yeah, it's like cake batter.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, lovely cake batter. All right, and so the next thing that we're going to do is...
Oh, it's stringy.
Yep, we're going to put in our pasta. Now, when I cook my pasta ahead, I put a little olive oil on it so it doesn't stick together. If you don't do that, you can have a problem of when you try to dump it, it's all in a gigantic clump.
Good pro tip.
So this is going to take just a little bit of time.
Wow, that thickened up.
To incorporate this in here. Then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add our brisket in. Now we have our brisket in here. Rich said he thought my pieces were a little too big, but you know, if you see any before you dump it, you can break them up. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna do before we put our brisket on, and you can do this or not do it, but I like to put a tiny bit of Sweet Baby Ray's on it. Now I don't wanna overpower it because the purpose is to taste the brisket. But if I put a little bit on it, see how much is on there? It just gives it not only that smoked brisket flavor, but that little bit of flavor of the Sweet Baby Ray's.
You've done it quite a few times without even adding barbecue sauce in. It was delicious.
Yeah, it's good either way, but this just kind of makes it a little more, you know, kind of super fun. So we're gonna set this aside, and then we're gonna take our brisket, and we're gonna put that all in there. Yes, it is. And then we're gonna just stir it up until the brisket gets incorporated. All right. And what's nice about these noodles too is, while you're doing this, if you break it up a little bit, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they're
it's
big.
not really, yeah, it's not really gonna ruin it like you might think it might be a problem. So, all right, so we've got our brisket all incorporated in there, and it's looking good. So the next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna put it in the casserole, but don't leave yet because there's a trick for this as well. All right, so the trick for this is just makes it a little more over the top. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put about half of our brisket. Wow, this is heavy.
Need some help?
We're gonna put about half. I need to start working out with you in the mornings. We're gonna put about half of our brisket macaroni and cheese in here, okay? And then we're gonna kind of smooth this out. Now when we bake this, this will become kind of cheesy and kind of more liquidy than it is right now. And then we're gonna take half of our cheddar and half of our Gouda that we have left.
Oh, making a little layer in there.
Yep, and then we put a layer in here. And then the next thing, we put the rest of our brisket macaroni and cheese on the top. Now, we don't want to waste any of this deliciousness because not only is it wonderful, but food is not cheap.
No.
So I do not like to waste anything. And we're going to get all the rest of that out.
Very good.
And then we're going to smooth this on top of that layer that we just made. Now I have a, this type of 9x12 baking dish does not need to be greased in it, but if you're using like an aluminum pan or something, you may want to grease that. So that is going to be, let me make sure I get everything on there. That's going to be about it on there. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the last bit of this cheddar and we're going to sprinkle that on and move it around. And then we're going to take the last bit of the Gouda.
Ooh, smoked Gouda.
Yep. And that adds to really adds to the smoky flavor of the brisket.
Mm-hmm. And
then the only other thing that we need to do, and we're going to be baking this pretty soon, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it so you can see, is we're going to take these Panko breadcrumbs and we're just going to sprinkle them all across the top. I mean, it's not any perfect way. I'm just trying to get them as even as I can. And we'll put the rest of these on, and I got one other little thing that I like to do. Now this last bit, you can do or not. It's totally up to you. But I do like to take just a tiny bit.
A little Sweet Baby Ray's. Everybody likes Sweet Baby Ray's.
and just kind of make it look fun. And now you are ready to go in the oven. So when we get ready to put this in the oven, we're gonna do it at 325, and we're gonna put it in there between 20 and 30 minutes. After that, it'll come out and it'll need to rest for about 10 minutes, and then it'll be ready to eat. So we're going to wait for the kids to come over, and then we're gonna bake it, and when we take it out, we're gonna let you take a look at it so you can see what it's like when it's all done. So we'll see you guys in a few hours. Well, it's about time to put her in the oven. So we're preheating 325. Almost ready, so I'm just gonna go ahead and stick it on in. And we'll see what she looks like when she comes out.
What's that about? How long?
Well, I had it in the refrigerator, so instead of doing it 30 minutes, I'm gonna do it about 40 minutes. Perfect. Because I have to get that warmed up and then cook the 30 minutes. So it'll be about 40 minutes. And we'll let you see it when it comes out.
Ooh, that looks good.
It's bubbling.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh, that's heavy.
Oh,
now we're gonna let this rest for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna serve it up. And when we serve it up, we'll let you take a look at it.
Ooh, that looks good. Well,
our company is here. It's Jessica and our son, Rich. And
hey,
we are
Richie,
gonna dig into the macaroni and cheese. All right, here we go.
How long did you let it sit on the counter?
About 10 minutes.
Okay. Ooh, that looks, it still looks hot after resting for 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
All right, there it is. And we're gonna dig in and see what it tastes like.
All right, let me know. All right, looks like Jen, what are you doing? Put a little barbecue sauce on yours?
I'm gonna put just a little bit of barbecue sauce on it.
Man, it was so piping hot. You let it cool down a little bit. Let me know what you think there.
Okay.
And describe what you got there. I hear the crunches.
The top's crunchy, nice and cheesy. Big old pieces of brisket in there. Very good.
Oh yeah. Jessica, what'd you think?
Very good.
And Richie, thumbs up, mouthful. Very good. Well, we're all gonna go eat now. And Jen, anything closing remarks here?
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, let us know, and please subscribe and hit the like button, and I think that's it. I guess we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.